Thank you for joining us for another episode of Team Lift Presents Rodical Thinking.
All right, everybody. Man, this is weird. You know, you do the pre-production where we just sat here and kind of talked about what we were going to do, and I had it in my mind what we were going to start the show with, and as soon as I started recording, my mind just went freaking blank, bro. It's just, I don't even believe the hell that happened.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's what I just did. So this is a little bit different. This is, I guess, going to be the first episode of Rodical Thinking with Roderick McDaniel. And this is a show basically where it doesn't fall under the Team Lift normal stuff. So like Team Lift, we cover geek culture. Okay, that's what it is. And we cover anime, comic books, geek movies, stuff that geeks like. That's what we do. And it's always kind of been fun. And we talk to people in the gaming industry, that kind of stuff, voice actors. I mean, you know, we just, any facade of geek culture, we're on it. And we love covering it. Radical thinking, a little bit different. We're going to talk to different people on here. We're going to talk about some serious subjects sometimes, and sometimes they're just going to be off the wall, but they just don't fall under the Team Lift banner. And since they don't fall under the Team Lift banner, I'm going to come here and do it here. Sometimes there'll be audio, sometimes, I mean, most is always going to be audio, but I mean, I guess there will be every now and then we'll do a video that we'll put on YouTube, but not really a big video series kind of guy. I hate how I look on camera mostly.
I feel that, bro. That's why 9 times out of 10 I'm behind the camera.
Yeah, bro. I did not know I had an ego. Like, I'm getting older. So I'm 47. I turned 47 on February 10th. And the older I get, the less I like looking at myself on camera. Although I really look good right now. Like, sometimes I look at myself and I go, wow, I'm not a bad looking guy. I really am kind of turning into an older looking guy that's adequate. You know, I don't look like Jabba the Hutt. I mean, I'm as big as Jabba the Hutt. I just don't look like his ass. Okay.
Yeah, you got the curves, but you just you got the sex appeal to go with it.
Yeah. See, like I don't want women looking at me and just going, ooh, you know.
Hey, you know, you could play and be like, hey, girl, you can be my Leia any day.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah.
No. Okay.
That's the problem with me is that no, I don't want that either. I really have become anti. Like I have a big personality from comedy, but I am really anti-women the older I'm getting. And it's not like like, oh, women this, women that. It's just like, I only want you for friends. I have zero interest in anything else you could offer me because there's going to be issues if you offer me anything else. So in order to avoid issues, I just be my friend, bake me cookies, tell me jokes and send me memes, you know? No nudes needed. I don't need them. Thanks. I mean, if you're going to send them, at least be iPhone quality, but no thank you.
That reminds me of Robert's post.
It is. That's how I quoted one of the most greatest men ever. That's the greatest post Robert's ever made. If you're going to send nudes, at least be iPhone quality. And I was like, that is hilarious.
21st century first world problems. I like it.
I'm telling you, man, that's it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today is a weird topic, and I think I need to address it. I was honestly going to do this a little bit differently. I was actually going to do this show with you, and I was going to go live from Facebook with it. Okay? And I thought about doing that, and then it was like, I kind of went through this thing where I took Facebook off my phone, and I still haven't put it back on my phone, and I'm really enjoying life without it on my phone, and so I don't want it back on my phone yet. So I didn't do it. I just decided I'll address it here, and then we can put it out on Facebook as a post later. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So one of the things that we're gonna deal with is Team Lift did not put out an episode for about 9 to 10 weeks. 9 to 10 weeks, 2 months, dang near, almost 3. We didn't record. No episodes were recorded. No new content was put out, and we didn't. And I disappeared from Facebook at the same time, and I wasn't really talking about it. Nobody was really talking about what had happened, and a lot of people were kind of concerned that the show had ended. I think even you were kind of concerned that it was over.
I was there for a little bit. I was kind of a little in a weird spot, confused. I mean, you know, like we talked about on the anime session where it was me and Zane, you know, that went to a con instead of me, you, and Zane. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like it was different. I'll definitely give it to you. It was different.
Oh, yeah. No, it was. It definitely was. And I got a lot of weird phone calls and emails and text, and, you know, people reached out. They were concerned. And it really was kind of an eye-opening thing because, you know, you build up this thing, and I think everybody does it. You start a podcast, and you build it up, and you think, man, I just want to have a lot of people listen and share in the discussion of what we do. And then you make these friends around the world that listen to your podcast, and you don't think about the effect that you have on them. Some people, we are a regular part of their schedule. And it was kind of humbling, but at the same time, eye-opening for me to receive this outpouring of concern about the show. And I'm going to go ahead and this episode, we're going to deal with it. We're going to talk about where I was and what was going on. Now, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to get emotional. I think I'm in a place where I say I won't. I will definitely attempt not to get emotional.
Well, the nice thing about recording is we can always cut it out too. So.
Yeah, that is so true. I can always edit the shit out of this.
Yes.
So here's what happened. I'm in a better place now, but I suffered what I would call a depression break. Okay. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just, I battled with depression, and it was a number of things that had all kind of culminated, and I think I just hit the wall where I was like, I'm exhausted. I can't do anymore. The depression, exhaustion is on me, and I'm done. And so I kind of checked out of society, and there was a number of things that were leading to it. And anybody that has suffered with depression knows it could be anything. Anything can set it off. You don't know what can set it off, but there are sometimes, you know, if you dealt with it for a number of years, you kind of know some of the factors. You know, this wasn't a good thing that you had put yourself into, and that led to it. Now, I don't owe anybody an explanation for where I was. I don't feel like I owe you an apology for where I was, but I do feel like maybe talking about it, I don't think we talk about it enough. Like, we're always saying, hey, you know, depression is real, and we really need to we need to recognize mental health for what it is, and how precious it is, and how we have to work to preserve our own happy space and good space. I'm a big proponent of that, okay, but I don't always practice it the best. And so what I wanted to do was actually come out and discuss my own issues and kind of tell you guys what happened. So this has been a crazy year. 2018 has been a crazy year, but I had determined that this year I was going to get divorced. I decided, hey, you know what? My wife and I, who I love her dearly, don't get me wrong, I deeply devoted care for this woman, love her still with all my heart, but we hadn't lived together for 4 years in the same household. You know, we just kind of been, she's traveling, I'm in Austin, I'm traveling, doing the podcast. We're just leading two totally different lives, okay? And leading those different lives has, you know, it'll make any relationship tap out. But I had decided, hey, look, we're not going anywhere, so let's just go ahead and end this. And that was hard. I mean, because I don't care what you say, you know, even as much as I loved her, I didn't hate her. I was just ending it because we were kind of on these two different paths, right? And I could tell you all the great things. Like when I first started, I could tell you, financially, this doesn't make sense to live like this. We're filing taxes separately. Economically, this would be better. I can give you all the reasons, okay, for why I thought it was a brilliant idea. I think she'd be better off without me. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I kind of put it in motion, you know, getting the paperwork done. I was going to get divorced. Before I announced it, I wanted to try to keep it as private as possible. Most people didn't know. Guys on the podcast, you guys knew because I knew it was going to affect you. My kids knew. Of course, Kim knew because it was going to affect her. I think that was important for your wife to know that you plan on divorcing her. So it was a big thing. So I decided I was going to set this whole thing up and I was going to move forward and do it. And like all well thought out plans, it immediately went to shit. I made bad decisions. I think we can admit I make bad decisions. Some things I've done in my brain because I think that'll be entertaining. And I don't think beyond that. I'll just say, that's going to be fun. That's going to be hilarious. And then I don't think there may be repercussions from that. So,
well, that's the life of an entertainer right there altogether.
It really is. And I don't think people realize how comedians' brains work.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, our brains don't think about, like if I write a joke, I'm getting more sensitive to it now, but if I write a joke about finding another woman attractive, I write it as, is it funny? I don't write it as, oh, my wife may not find this joke funny and may think it's serious. And so you don't think of those things, so I do a lot of things just based on the idea like, that looks like fun. Let's try that. Oh, that seems like that'll be hilarious. Let's do that. And when you do those kind of stupid ass things, sometimes they blow up in your face, lead to a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of regret. And then after you've done it, you kind of hear from people and then you go, oh, I did not realize that was going to do that to you. My bad. So now I'm in that situation. What has happened now, though, is that I'm in I just kind of was going through everything. You remember last year we did IckyCon in December, right? That was,
yep.
And I was just like, IckyCon had happened. We came off of probably one of our largest cons that we had covered as a team. I like to say it was our largest.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And, then I came off a very hectic launch season where we had blacked out the dates for the video game company I worked for. And so it was a hectic holiday season there with those guys. And, it was just like, I started working on, I started making changes, like I put a lot of stuff into the start of the year, like 2018, I was changing some things. So, I had the dental appointment at the end of January and decided, I was going to get some dental work done, which ended up leading to me deciding I was going to get major dental work done where I was going to close the gap in my teeth that I've had since I was in fourth grade.
I'm still opposed to that.
A lot of people are, and I could care less.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I could care less. But, yeah, it was like I started doing a lot of major stuff, man. So, it was like, okay, you got a divorce. Work was exhausting. The con schedule was exhausting. You're now doing dental work. I'm a day out, the day before I'm supposed to go and get the dental work done. Like I'm going to get some crowns on some of the teeth in the back. Because I had a tooth that's been cracked for, I bet you, 10 years in the back of my mouth. Back top of my mouth, all the way at the rear. There was a tooth that was cracked. Never had problems with it. The tooth shattered one day. After 10 years, it finally decided to fucking shatter, and it ruined me. And I freaked out about that. And they were able to recover the tooth and put a crown on it. Then, it was just rough. It was rough. And so I kind of got to the point where, hey, I'm going to do the divorce. And that's how I'm going to just put all my energy into concentrating on that. And the minute I did, it was like I started kind of stepping away from the show. I stepped away from, I kind of told you guys, hey, I'm not going to be as readily available to go to cons because I really need to make sure that I do this right and I do this in a way where I'm very respectful of my family. I'm very respectful of Kim. I wanted to try to, here's the thing, I convinced myself that I could get divorced and everybody would still be friendly. And I want you to know right now, that shit does not exist.
No. Well, I mean, that's kind of the hard part about it is, being on the child side of it, with my parents of getting divorced. I mean, there's lines that are drawn. I mean, you kind of have to play, when you're younger or even just as friends, like, well, am I better friends with this person or am I better friends with this person? Because you're going to hear shit from both people and you're like, do I want to play this game? Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's a rough place, man.
it was.
But see, it's grown up for you to actually understand that. Like, I've seen a lot of people get divorced and they don't understand that. And people that are friends with both sides, they end up losing those friends because it becomes a battle of like, well, they're my friend, no, they're my friend type thing, or they have to pick. So for you to understand that, kudos to you.
All right.
That's awesome, dude. Like that's very adult of you. I like it.
Well, it was, man, it was like I was really trying to be respectful of all the parties because, I have 7 kids, between her and I, we have the kids that we've Brady bunched our family together, and these kids have grown up aware of each other and as brothers and sisters. And now I'm about to dissolve this thing. And so there's like, I knew that even though I have adult children, there was concern about, is he still going to be reaching out to me? Is he still my dad or stepdad? And my daughters had pretty much determined that you're my dad. Just because you're divorcing my mom doesn't mean we don't have a connection. But I knew at the same time it was going to be hard. There were going to be hurt feelings, and I knew Kim was going to be hurt by it. And because she didn't necessarily want the divorce, she didn't think it was a great idea. So I knew it was going to be bad. And I recognized it was going to be bad for a bunch of parties involved. And then so I had that. That was one part to the depression. I've gained back weight again. So like, if you've known me most of my life, you've known that I worked out. I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going to the gym and eating right, eating clean, lifting weights, lost a bunch of weight because a doctor had told me, you don't lose this weight, you're going to die. That was pretty much how they put it. They were just like, your black ass is going to die. And that was like, oh, my black ass. Okay, thank you, doctor. Not sure that's racist or not, but thank you for clarifying. My black ass is going to die. And he kind of put it to me real, and then I got serious. And so, I just buried my dad in 2014. He lost his battle to cancer. And my mom, I'm just going to be real, amazing woman, super strong woman, not ready to bury a child. My brothers, not ready to bury a brother. And me at 47, I'm half the time, I don't mind the idea of dying young. It just gets me out of finishing my car payment and college loans.
Yes.
I really always, every time I say that to people, they get so upset. They get so upset. It's not funny to some people. You're a little too comfortable with dying. No, I'm really comfortable with getting out of these debts, however possible. So that's really where I'm at on the whole issue. But that's, once again, a joke I thought was hilarious that some of your family may not find funny. So that's where I was. I was just kind of like, okay, I got to lose this weight. I'm gaining weight, and I'm going through a divorce. I'm getting dental work. I'm now starting to kind of go through this thing where I'm starting to, at this point, I thought everything was gravy. Okay. Like I'm getting my life in order. I start the divorce and then I start getting honest with myself. And this is one of the craziest, scariest things I've ever done in my whole life. And it was this game I played with my own psyche called You Can't Lie to Yourself. And in the game of You Can't Lie to Yourself, you start looking at situations that you've created for yourself. And you say, hey, you can't sugarcoat this. You can't bullshit it. You have to be honest about, you may lie to the rest of the world. Don't lie to yourself. And so I just kind of started looking at, this was technically my 3rd marriage, and it was dissolving. And I started telling people, I'm done. I'm not dating. I'm done. And they were like, what do you mean you're done? I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't know how to do marriage. I'm not good at it. Okay. So I'm not going to do this anymore. And, I just started kind of getting real about myself and looking at, a lot of mistakes that I had made in the past where I caused my own heartache and headache. And so because of that, I was just like, okay, well, you've done so much dumb shit. It's now a situation of, what are you going to do now? Okay. And so the more I kind of started going deeper into these situations and analyzing them and looking at them, it was hard. It was hard. Fuck, it was depressing. Just having to be honest about stuff that I had done, mistakes I had made in every relationship, friendship, business that had caused it to dissolve. Great thing to be honest with yourself and to look at, to learn from it. It's one thing to look at it, but learn from it. And so that was what I was doing, was trying to learn from these situations. And then I, in the midst of learning from it, I just got real about the feelings about my dad dying. And then I realized, you're kind of mad at God. Like this is weird. It's one of the weirdest things I found out in the years of being a comedian is that when I tell people I believe in the whole story of Jesus and God, it is the most controversial thing I've ever said. I did not know that. Like, just saying that I believed in Jesus was probably the most controversial thing I've ever said as a comedian, because I found out most of my friends that are comedians are very much atheists. A lot of my friends are atheists or agnostic. There's some that just say, hey, look, I'm not arrogant enough to say there is no God. I'm just saying I don't know. And saying I don't know is okay. I say I don't know all the time. I don't know about, when somebody says, do you want the large fry or the medium? I don't know. I just don't know. So it's okay to say I don't know.
I pick medium because it's cheaper a lot of times.
I pick medium because it's only going to let me live 2 days longer. That's all. I really want the large. Have you seen me in public? Yeah, I want the large. But
have you seen me in public?
Yeah, that's true too.
Me and you together are an interesting look. Anyway, that's completely off topic. Anyways, continue.
It is. It is. But it was just like I really got to this thing where I was kind of like realized I was mad at God, didn't necessarily trust God anymore, because I'd prayed for my dad not to die from cancer, and he did, and I was just like, okay, you've disappointed me a lot in life. And I just kind of got real about all these things why God had disappointed me. And I had to have that come to Jesus meeting where you say, okay, you're pretty close to the end of this run anyway. Are you tapping out on him now, or are you just going to stick with him? And it got real. Like, I had to ask myself some really tough questions. And while I was doing this, man, I was just sinking deeper into the depression. So, like, I quit hanging out with friends. I didn't go anywhere. My weekends would basically be me coming into my house, sitting in my room in the dark, watching Netflix, playing video games. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I didn't call people. Like, it got weird. Okay. I didn't record. I just quit. I was going to quit the show. Like, and I'm not going to lie. In that time, I considered maybe I should just end it. So twice, I thought about it. I thought about it twice, giving serious consideration to maybe I should just end it, because this is, everybody wins if you end it. And that was kind of how I thought. Not like, it was really just, I don't have to pay for the divorce. I don't have to, it's just an easy way to get out. That was really all it was. It was just an easy way out. I don't have to deal with it if I end it. And that's me being real with you. So I thought about it. I'm not really a end it kind of guy. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, at the end of the day, when you get through it, I've thought about it. I'm sure like a lot of people have thought about killing themselves before.
Well, I mean, statistically, like, actually, oddly enough, I was looking through my notes and actually stumbled across that while you were talking. Depression is cause for over 2/3 of the 30,000 reported suicides in the U.S. each year. And that comes from the White House. I mean, it's a hard thing to deal with. I mean, I know myself personally has dealt with that. And I know you've had your battles with that as well. And it's just so hard. I mean, another one of the little footnotes I had here was untreated depression is the number one risk among suicides in the youth. Suicide is the third leading cause of death from 15 to 24-year-olds, and the fourth leading cause from 10 to 14-year-olds. Young males aged 15 and 24 are at higher risk suicide, with the ratio of males to females is 7-1. That's such a concerning number. Like, and I mean, look back at your own life, between the ages of 15 to 24. Like, I didn't really have too many friends that had that problem. Like, yeah, we had problems, but like, I didn't really have too many friends that were suicidal at that time, in my own personal story. But it seems like to me, all my friends that have contemplated it have been 24 to 50, So it's a hard thing to deal with, man. Like, it's not, a lot of people say they deal with depression or they deal with some type of depressed feeling, but it's different when it's like an acute depression or manic depression. I mean, people handle depression in different ways, but I mean, it's a really difficult issue to deal with in general. I mean, 6.7% of people, that's 16 million Americans, deal with major depression in a year. I mean, I'm throwing out a lot of fact numbers, but
that's good though, man. I think people need to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, you hear 6.7% of Americans. That's just Americans. It's not overseas. You're like, oh, that's not that high of a number. I mean, that's a little bit higher than the unemployment rate. But when you break it down to 16 million Americans a year handle it, man, that's a really depressing number. And it kind of makes you think like, hey, man, when I go into the gas station, maybe this person's dealing with something, like, yeah, maybe they're shitty to me for a reason. Maybe they just have a bad day, but
I'm so glad you said that. Because that's my whole thing where I always tell everybody, like on Facebook, I always used to say, hey, man, everybody's dealing with something. Don't be a dick. And I'm always saying that. And I think people thought it was kind of cute and funny and haha, Roderick, that's so awesome. But no, I was saying that because I'll just say this. I fucking hate Facebook. Okay?
Amen.
I'll just say it. I have 800 associates. I don't even want to call all of you friends because fuck some of you. I mean, some of you are part of why I was depressed. I fucking have learned to hate some of these people that are on my Facebook friends list. And I'm going to say this. There's some amazing people in my life. There's some people who have loved me unconditionally, and I've known them, and I've watched them grow, and I've been a part of their relationships and their weddings and their marriages and their kids' lives. There are some people who have blessed me and enriched my life experience from knowing them. I count you and your sister as part of that. Jacob Chavez and, all those guys. It's a bunch of guys. I couldn't name everybody that has blessed and enriched my life. Jess. Even here, it would take the rest of my life to name everyone. But there's some people I fucking cannot stand because of Facebook. And it's basically, this past election ruined people. And I'm going to say this. My father I think about a lot of shit he taught me before he died. When we were kids, my dad used to always say, there are 4 things. If you want to be successful in business, you need to remember these 4 things. And I said, what's that? He said, you don't need to know who anybody slept with. You don't need to know who anybody voted for. You don't need to know who anybody prays to. And you don't need to know how much anybody makes. Okay?
Man, he would have a heyday in 2018.
Because we give all that fucking information away daily on Facebook. Daily.
Yes.
I mean, Facebook has this ability to connect me with somebody on the other side of the world, and we can share ideas that enrich both of us and make us better people. The only thing I found out on Facebook in 2017 was who ate ass and who voted for Trump. That was it. That was all I found out. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to share soda with any of those people.
Well, the people that ate ass or the people that voted for Trump, or both.
No, I didn't want to share soda with either of those people because I'm not saying I eat ass. I'm just saying don't drink after me. I'm just saying that because I'm willing to say I did not vote for Trump. I can't say that. So don't drink after me. If you see me set a soda down, go get your own. Okay. You take that as a public service announcement. I'm not saying I eat ass. Just don't drink after me. But needless to say, yeah, I just said, this is it. I was like, I don't care. Like people, and here's the thing. Having an opinion is one thing. Being blind to a religious or political ideology makes you a piece of shit. Okay. If you can't look at, if you're a Republican and you can't look at the Republican Party and realize there's some fucking problems in your own party, you're a piece of shit. If you are a Democrat and you can't look at the Democratic Party and realize there's some fucking problems in that party, you're a piece of shit. Okay. It makes you a sane, reasonable person to be able to look at a situation, take your fucking emotions and allegiance out of it and go, yay, this is right, or no, this is wrong. It's not gray. It's not, I think we try to make a lot of things gray. And like one of my buddies, he got me. He was a Christian, says he's a Christian. And, he was a Roy Moore supporter. And I was like, dude's a damn child molester as far as I'm concerned. But he didn't care about the women that Roy Moore had hurt. He didn't care about any of that. All he cared about was them losing that seat. And I said, you've reduced everybody down to a political seat. You need to really think about who you are as a person.
That's a scary, 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 scary place to be in. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so then these were the people that were on my Facebook friends list that, people who, like some guys I've served in the military with, some guys I've known since high school, people who have celebrated my ups and my downs with me, people who I've enjoyed life with. I was starting to see them for shitbags. There were some shitbags out here, and then there were people who just were insensitive to other people's struggles, man. One of the stupid, I'll tell you my favorite thing. I could have this conversation. It's totally different, but I'll say this. One of my favorite things about racism and it coming so much more to the forefront in 2017 and 2018 was people quit playing. Okay, let me not say people. White guys on my friends list on Facebook quit playing that stupid ass video from Morgan Freeman where he said, how we get rid of racism? We quit talking about race. That was the stupidest fucking statement in the history of statements. And I love Morgan Freeman. It was an ignorant ass statement. You know why? Because not talking about it did not take racism away. Not talking about it is not going to end racism. There's somebody right now in Alabama, in Mississippi, some of these white guys that were posting that in their own fucking families that calls me a nigger just because my skin is brown. Okay? College education be damn. What I do be damn. I'm a nigger. Okay. And for them to sit here and say racism doesn't exist, and if we quit talking about it, that is the most ignorant ass, dumb ass statement. And I was so glad when those Klansmen marched in South Carolina because I would say, oh, look what not talking about it did. And that video disappeared off the internet. Thank you, Jesus. I love it.
Dude, I'll tell you from personal experience, especially from South Carolina. I grew up there for many years. Mm-hmm. And it's still there, man. Like, I've seen gas stations. There's specific gas stations to specific towns, and they may not be like this anymore, but I highly doubt it's not. If you were black, and I watched this happen, and I understood it at a young age of being like 7 or 8, seeing this. I knew what it was. Black guy would give the white guy money. White guy would go in, buy the black guy stuff, bring it out, give it to him, and they jump back in the truck and they leave. And I'm like, and I understood what it was. I mean, that's the worst part about it is that being 7 or 8 and you have a complete understanding of the way racism, well, not a complete understanding, but you have an understanding of the way racism works. Dude, that's not something that, I'm not saying my parents shouldn't have brought me up around it. I'm glad I saw those things because it opened my eyes to that it is something that's real. A lot of people don't want to accept things that are factual because they didn't see it. Like, a good one is, the Holocaust never happened because, I never saw it. Those are just stats that don't exist. Well, there were other people that did see it, like it kind of happened, but racism, I see that. And, I've lived across the South, I've lived across the North, I've lived many places. Mm-hmm. Dude, it's not just the South. It's the North. It's the Midwest. It's the Northeast. It's on the coast. Dude, it's worldwide, man.
It is.
I mean, it's all over. It's not just an American problem. It's a worldwide problem. And it has been and will continue. As long as there's people on Earth, there will be racism. And I hate to say that. I really do. I wish we could get rid of those issues. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm one of those people like, I don't see color. That's, to me, that is an ignorant statement.
Oh yeah,
for people that say I don't see color. I mean, dude, everybody has a little bit of racism in them that they don't realize is possibly racism because of stereotypes, the way people look at people. But that it's a totally unfounded deal. I mean, like, there's no science behind that. There's no study behind that. But I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, you see somebody on the street that fits the stereotype of what you think of this race, no matter what that race is, you're going to kind of look at them a little bit different, whether it's a good situation or bad. But, it's just this is a subject I don't like to talk about a lot of times.
No, I totally get it. No, and man, and the thing is, it's I think that's part of the problem. There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about. And I think our society is like, now this new generation of kids, well, I guess everybody's like calling them millennials, and the younger generation, younger than the millennials. I love them. They are not fearless. Fuck you and your feelings. We gonna talk about the hard shit, and we're gonna change it. And thank God, because your parents, who I went to school with, were part of the problem. Just being real, man. I'm 47. I'm right. I'm closer to seeing God than I am to, going to the prom. So I can just, if you don't like me by now, kiss my black ass. I don't care. You don't have to come to the funeral. But I'm at that point, man. Fuck it. These kids are being bold, and they're talking, and they're being real, and I love them. But it's definitely, Facebook contributed to my depression. I was so depressed. Like, I would get emotionally pissed off on Facebook. Like, I would open up Facebook, and I wanted to see my friends, and I wanted to share posts, and I wanted to put memes and jokes, and then I'd scroll through Facebook and see a post and be immediately pissed. And then you'd say, hey, Roderick, you could have just deleted that, right? Delete the thing that was causing you stress. Delete the people that were causing you stress. But then, let me explain how alpha male mentality works, because it's a fucking poison. I don't want to be the one that tapped out. I don't want to be a quitter. That's really what it was. I was like, if I leave, now I'm just giving the guy that pissed me off the power. I quit. I ran from it. And it's such a stupid ass mentality to have. But I really should have just ran and deleted people.
Well, it kind of gives you a little bit of more freedom. It's not something you're glued and stuck to in your free time. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Facebook, God, if it wasn't for, well, I can't even say for media aspects anymore, because I haven't posted any of that's like pictures or anything in so long. But, if it wasn't for that, man, I'd still be on Facebook. I took like a 1.5 to 2 year hiatus from Facebook. Like, totally worth it. And did I miss anything? Nah, not really. I mean, not much at all.
Yeah, no, you're so sick.
But it is a depressing fact. I mean, even when you get away from like the irritable aspect and the anger aspect, I mean, 9 times out of 10, people are just going to post the good things about their life, or they're just going to completely whine about everything in their life. And hey, that's your platform, man. Stand that platform, do your thing. That's cool. Whatever. But at the same time, it does get depressing when you see your friends succeeding and not succeeding, but succeeding in something that you would prefer to be in yourself. And it's kind of a defeating mentality at the same time, because you're like, man, look how successful my friends are, and look how like they're getting to do what I want to do. And I mean, it sucks. But then when you talk to them in real life, they're like, nah, dude, like, my life sucks. Like, I struggle. I deal with this, and we only see everything for the face value of what it is online. You meet these people in real life, dude. It's not like that, man. Oh, no. Not at all. And these people are there's a lot of people, man, like super positive all the time, happy mentality online, and you meet them in person, they're the most miserable people you'll ever meet. I'm like, dude, what happened? I just post the good things about my life. I'm like, that's cool, but that really kind of sucks, man. Like, I hate to hear that for you.
It kills me? Comedians. I know I'm not the only comedian like this, but let's face it. We're a weird breed, and it's a lot of us have taken our own lives. And it's something that I've noticed with a lot of my friends that are comedians. When we're real with each other, a lot of them are dealing with depression. They're on meds for it. A lot of them have attempted suicide. Most have been like, their success levels have been wildly varying. Some can tell you about their attempts, and they will tell you the funniest, most brutal, honestly amazing story about their suicide attempt and what they learned from it. And it'll rip your heart out and make you laugh uncontrollably. And then there are some that they tell you these stories and they're bone chilling. And you'll just be like, whoa. And so it's something that I noticed. I don't know if it's what it is about us as entertainers. Like, one of my friends told me one time, comedians are a weird bunch because we tell jokes to validate our own self-worth, and we judge our value by the people that laugh at us. The people that laugh, we find our value in the laugh. And when the laughs dry up, what are we?
Dude, that is probably one of the realest statements I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was. It was hard.
I think I know who told you that one too. So I'm actually impressed.
I'll tell you that I'll tell it to you off the air. But it was
yeah.
I think I'm gonna shock you when I tell you who it was that told me that off the air. But it was an amazing story. When he told it to me, I was just kind of like dumbfounded the first time he said it. I had no words. I could not reply to what he had just said to me. And as I've gotten older, it's starting to make more sense to me. I was going to quit comedy. It's not a secret that I was done. I was like, after my dad died, I told my family, I'm done. I'm not doing stand-up anymore, because it hurt that my dad wasn't going to get to see me be successful in it, and I didn't want to do it anymore, and I was going to walk away. And I remember saying that to my brother, and my brother said, take your break, but you're full of shit. You're not done with comedy. And I was like, I got pissed. I was like, who are you to tell me I'm not done with comedy? He said, no, you're not a quitter. Our dad didn't raise any quitters. Our family has never produced a quitter. And you take a break, but you're not done. He said, you won't leave comedy because of this. You may leave comedy one day. It won't be because of this. And I took a break, and I was done. In my head, I was done. I was like, fuck that. I'll show you I'm done. And fuck it. I was back, within 2 years. And I was like, that motherfucker. He knew me. He knew me. I still love that dude, man, for that. But it was just like one of those things where I took the break and I got back into comedy. And, it was... I was performing, like I was doing well down here in Austin, and then all of a sudden I just quit, like, again, man. I was done, man. This depression took me out. A bunch of my friends that lost me, and they reached out. I think it was really weird. Some of the first people to message me and text me were other comedians because they knew the signs were showing. You know what I mean? They were like, I've seen that. I know what that is. So they were kind of reaching out like, hey, bro, where you at? How are things? But yeah, it was weird. It was definitely weird. It was a weird time. So depression. I mean, let's just face it, depression. There were a number of reasons, number of things. Depression. And it fucked me up and it took me out. And we didn't record. And I just, I didn't want to cover it up. I felt like I needed to be real with everyone about here's what happened. Because if it can happen to me, and I think most people look at me and think I'm a black Santa Claus. They just think I'm a fat, jolly guy. Life of the party, fat, jolly guy. And, that probably eats ass. And that's probably what they think when they see me. And they are just like, you're not far off from the truth. But Black Santa had depression, and he was taken out of the mix for 10 weeks. Like, I started feeling normal about 2 weeks ago. Today is May 12th?
Yeah.
I started feeling normal around the end of April. I started feeling like human again. And it was slow. Like, it was a slow transition back into the public and, like going to do things. And, and also I had something happen. I almost lost a friend in an accident. And it kind of made me start thinking, man, this person would have died and I'd have felt like shit because I couldn't have been with them. And so, their misery kind of actually put mine in perspective. And it's not to minimize my feelings. I'm not doing that at all, because I think that's one of the things that we don't need to do. When you're depressed, it's okay to say, my feelings are hurt. and I want to heal my feelings. And I think especially among black men, we don't talk about this. Like black men have more reason to be depressed than most. I mean, let's just face it. Life sucks to be a black man in America most days, unless you're a rapper. Unless you are a trap artist, life kind of sucks. It's hard being black in America in 2018. It should not be this hard. Like, I'm not saying it's as bad as it was in 1965, and it's way better than it was in 1932, but it's still kind of hard to be a black man in this country. You have reasons to be depressed in this country if you are a black male. And we don't talk about, like, I would be shocked if a gangster rapper came out and never said, man, my feelings are hurt. I find myself hard to articulate how I feel and to express these in words. I'd be like, this is the greatest rapper that's ever lived. Who is this guy? You know, little broke heart. Oh, this emo
Little
nigga.
broke heart.
I'd be like, this emo nigga, I can't deal with this. Like, you know, I'll give you an example of it. My brother, Mr. Wisdom himself, doesn't like Drake. He said, man, he's too emotional, always dealing with his feelings. And I was like, what's wrong with being a well-rounded human being? I was like, what is wrong with you, man? Like, yeah, as we do have feelings. We are humans. It's okay to have feelings and to be emotional and to live on an emotional plane and to have, you know, work through your feelings. To acknowledge you have feelings doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you human.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why a lot of guys, even if I take the race factor out, a lot of men don't talk about their feelings. And it irritates the piss out of me. It's okay to have feelings. If you get nothing from this 45-minute discussion, take this away. It's okay to acknowledge your feelings. You are still a man if you have feelings. You are still a man if you get your heart broken. You're still a man if you get emotional. Just makes you human. We're all human, and we should be able to acknowledge that. So I don't know. It drives me crazy.
That's you bring up a good point that actually there's studies behind, but 35% of people that are suffering from long-term depression, like severe depression, will not go get help. And that's the thing. Like, you know, if you need help, go get the help. Like, it's okay to go check into a mental institute. I mean, mental health is one thing that we don't talk about as a society. And when we did talk about it as a country, it was because of football. I mean, yeah, that's cool. And concussions do have a large part of the brain that is affected emotionally. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, I had a lot of freaking emotional problems after my concussions. You know, I had two back to back, you know, one that was mild and one that was super severe, you know, that I don't really remember 2 years. I mean, there was a lot of things that I did that make no sense looking back on some of the little small stuff that I can remember. I'm like, why would I do that? Or people would tell me, hey, you did this. And why would I do that? You know, and so, like, it's okay to go get help. I mean, you know, and as men, you know, part of it is, you know, we don't want to seem weak, and we're like, no, I can handle this myself. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some parts that you can, but I mean, you can't always handle everything. I mean, your brain can only handle so much before it just shuts down, you know, and that's, you know, hell, that's where I was, you know, a couple weeks ago. I mean, my brain just shut down, you know, and so the same time you were kind of going through everything with depression was kind of the same time I was kind of dealing with a lot of that myself, you know, and it's a hard time, man. I mean, you know, that was what was cool, you know, like, yeah, we were both depressed, but we both kept in contact, like, hey, bro, you know, like, I don't feel great today, you know, and be like, hey, well, what's going on, you know, or shit, we just play video games or something, you know, like, we wouldn't even really say anything, but we just sit there and bullshit about nothing. I mean,
yeah, we were in the group chat and we just sit there. Sometimes we played the games together. Sometimes we were playing totally separate things, and but we were there. We kept a line of communication, and we never let ourselves lie to the other one. It was like, today was a hard day. Today was not an easy day. I am all for what they call accountability partners. And
Amen, dude.
I think dudes should set that up. You should have a friend who you can be emotionally raw and honest with. And just to say, hey, look, I'm going to tell you some shit. And I need to trust that you're not going to be up and down the block with what I tell you, telling everybody what I tell you. And I can be honest with you and be able to say, today was not a good day for me. Today was a hard day for me. And then, okay, we're good.
Like, I think, well, being in a relationship, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been married, so I don't know. But, like, having, either female partner or male partner, whichever you prefer, or whichever gender you are, hey, it is what it is. But, like, I think that you can talk about some of that stuff with somebody else that's of the opposite sex, but it's a different deal. Like, for a guy, women aren't really going to understand some of the stuff that we deal with. I mean, that's just factual. I mean, I don't have numbers in front of me to back that up or study cases, but
I've lived that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like not all people understand, and sometimes your spouse or your significant other doesn't have the same emotional responses or understanding of life experience that you have. And so sometimes it's good to have somebody that understands those levels that, like for women, dude, go shop. But you guys talk about your feelings a lot more than guys do. I mean, I'm not just going to talk about my feelings to anybody. I mean, like, good example is like at work, I have a customer that comes in every once in a while. I'll be like, hey, dude, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm doing good, dude. We'll just banter back and forth. I talk shit to him. He talks shit to me, and then there's been a handful of times where he's come in and he just looks really crappy. And I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? And he's like, oh, I'm just having a bad day. And I'm like, well, do you need a hug? And he's like, I'll take a hug. There's been a few times where he's like, hey, dude, you doing all right? I'm like, nah, I ain't feeling it today, man. And he'll just come over and hug me, and that's one of my customers. Like, it's not, and he's a friend too, but that's the thing is, like, even when you don't have like a super great relationship with certain people, I mean, like you still have that ability, and guys have this different mindset and like, hey, we're strong, and so it's just kind of weird to see another guy at that broken point. But when I've kind of noticed it, guys will notice that with other guys pretty easily. Oh yeah, especially if they know him on first name basis and kind of been around him a little bit, they'll notice it, and so like if you got a friend that's dealing with something, you'll be like, hey, look, bro, I know I may not have the best answers or be able to help you out, but hey, I can listen. And a lot of times somebody that's depressed, that's all they need. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've just been like, I've woke up and just been in a terrible, foul mood and just super depressed for no reason. And then I'll just sit there and talk with you, be like, hey, dude, this is what's going on. You don't say a word, I'm over it. Bam, that's it. I just needed somebody to listen,
No, I'm 100% agreeing with you on that. And it's, guys, we got to do better. We got to. In fact, I'm not going to hold people up. Before we get off of here, I am going to say this. If you're going through what we talked about and you're at that point, you think you may hurt yourself, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. I'll say the number again is 1-800-273-8255. Don't suffer with it. Don't suffer in silence. Doesn't make you cool. Doesn't make you a man. Be able to be honest about your feelings and say if you're hurt. I don't know what else to say. I think we covered it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty true, man. I mean, if you're at the point to where you're just like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore and I just want to give up. I mean, I'll tell you from like personal experience, like I battled that, a couple of years ago. Looking at that point, that literally I felt like everything was hopeless and I had nothing left, and so it's a really terrible place, and looking back at my life then, where I am now, and I'm like, wow, dude, you have came a long way. Yes. And like, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing is like, yeah, I still have my daily struggles and I still have things that hurt and I still have, defeating moments and I have awesome moments, but that's just life, but looking back at my life, even just the little things, I mean, holy crap, dude. I never would have expected to be where I am in my life right now. 10 years ago, there's no way. 5 years ago, three years ago, I never would have suspected I would be where I am right now. I mean, let's be real.
Bro, 2013, I was stuck in Frederick, Oklahoma with no job and declining health. And that was 2013. Mm-hmm. And in 1 year, 2014, my entire life changed. I lost my dad and my life changed. Skyrocketed change for the better. It was tough, but it's, no, you're right, man. I couldn't have seen it back then.
Oh, yeah. Basically, to come all the way around, if you're in that spot, ask for help. Talk to somebody. I've had plenty of friends that have gone and myself personally, taken counseling before. I've had friends that have gone and actually got professional help at a center, like, hey, look, I'm struggling. You don't have to battle that stuff alone. I mean, there's people out there, there's professionals out there that went to school and have the passion for people, and they went into that field for a reason. They're there to listen. They're not just there for a paycheck. Some people, there's some people, but those people are there to help people. They want to see you in a better place. They want to help people. So, I mean, if you're in that place, call that number. It's a hard thing to deal with, but like an old farmer told me after a very, very, very bad incident in my life that I deal with, he said, hey, life goes on. It has to, life has to go on. And that's probably one of the truest, simplest statements I've ever heard. No matter how hard it gets, life still has to go on. Yeah, things may suck right now, but hey, life still goes on. You still got to handle it later on in the day, So, go find those changes. Don't suffer with it, but that's all I got to say on that.
Well, I think we covered it, man. We will be doing some more of these. If you liked it, you can definitely reach out to us if you liked it. I guess go teamlift at gmail.com. If you want to reach out to me personally, I think I have so many emails, but the easiest one is I will give you this one. It's my business email. I read it every day. It's Roderick Ready to Serve. Is it Roderick Ready to Serve 71 at gmail.com? I think that's it. I'm gonna double check it, but that's definitely a way to get me. So if you don't want to do Team Lift, the Team Lift email, which is great because I'm in it, go teamlift at gmail.com, or Roderick Ready to Serve 71 at gmail.com. Either email, you can get me. If it's more personal and you don't want to run the risk of somebody reading, hit me up on the personal one at the Roderick Ready to Serve. And that's Roderick, Roderick, Roderick Ready to Serve 71 at gmail.com, or go teamlift at gmail.com. Write to us. Tell us. Reach out to us. If you want to hit read up and you send it to the Go Team Lift, I'll forward it to his private email.
You can just send it to me straight if you want to. It's D as in dog, J as in Juliet, WREN at live.com. So that's DJ Ren at live.com. That one's linked to my phone. If I don't respond, for some reason, it went to my junk email. I've had a lot of them do that lately, but send me a message. I'll be completely open and honest about it. There's a lot of things that have happened in my life that I'm not proud of, and a lot of things I've done that I'm not proud of. But hey, it is what it is, and I got to live with those mistakes. But every day I got to push forward and better myself. So. Hit one of us up if you absolutely need to. We'll talk all day long about it if you want.
Heck yeah, and definitely, because man, I've been there, and I know it gets better. So I don't know if we have anything else to say without it being overkill. But yeah, it just kind of explained what happened to the show. It did. I did try to walk away from it. For some reason, this show is like the mafia. It keeps pulling me back in. It's the only way out is really going to be death. I've come to that conclusion. It's
the people, man.
I cannot get away from it. It is just not letting me. But yeah, no, it's been amazing just being able to be honest and tell people what's happening and to be, look, depression can hit anybody, it can affect anyone, it can happen to anyone, and I don't suggest you suffer in silence. Get help.
No.
Know people love you, know people care, and it helps to get it out. Don't harbor it in. The best way you get rid of darkness is shine light on it. So hopefully this helps somebody.
Hope so.
All right, brother. It was always a pleasure talking with you, man. We'll have to get together and do these again.
Yes, sir.
This radical thinking thing, who knows? 2 guys might hear it and actually like this show. So we got that going for us.
Right.
All right. Well, cool, man. I'll be hollering at you soon. And everybody that listened, thank you for listening to the whole show. And peace.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rodical Thinking, a Team Lift production. Hit us up at Go Team Lift and at Coach Silky on Twitter.